Finally, the announcement I've been waiting for since 2017. Kash Patel and Dan Bongino have exactly what the corporatist establishment have been trying to hide since the birth of Resistance 1.0. Remember how this all started? You guys remember Russiagate? The Steele dossier?
Good evening. President Donald Trump says there was no collusion between his campaign team and Russia during the 2016 election after federal indictments against members of his campaign team were revealed today.
A special counsel, Robert Mueller, has been looking into possible Russian interference with last year's election.
And you guys remember how it was proven to be a hoax?
Okay, John Durham, a Trump-era special counsel assigned to infamously investigate the investigation into former President Donald Trump's alleged ties to Russia, released a bombshell 305-page report, and after roughly 4 years, it found that, in fact, there was no collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. And the FBI should never have launched a probe into the matter to begin with.
We have all the documents, everything they were trying to hide, everything they never wanted the public to see.
I was the lead Russiagate investigator for the House Intelligence Committee, and I've been on both your shows in a prior life talking about it. And I'm telling you and the American public that we have now found material and information and people who wanted to hide it from the world since we got in these seats. And we, as the deputy said, we are trying to do it in a fashion where not only are we informing the American public of what happened, but we can have accountability for it. And that takes a little bit more time. And when you layer on the fact that we are rolling out our priorities on violent crime and defending the homeland, you know, we're running a three-part animal here, and we're going 100 miles an hour on each single one.
There's a portfolio of 100 level 10 items. If it's a level 9, which is a pretty big freaking deal, someone else fixed it. The only thing that gets to my desk or his is a level 10. That's the entire day. Look at his schedule any given day. I'll show you the palm card I have. It is filled from 7:30 to he leaves 7 at night, 6:30 at night. It's filled all day.
And Dan has been on it for a minute now. See, this was him 7 years ago.
Listen, I really try not to jump on the conspiracy theory train ever, even on my own show. Like, I get in trouble sometimes for not feeding into conspiracy theories. But how is this not the scandal of the century right now? The boomerang has come back and slammed the Democrats right in the face. And the entire time, the Russian connection was through the DNC and the Clinton campaign. There's a couple of takeaways from this, though. Think about this. I was a former federal investigator. This is not a joke now. You had bogus, spurious information, potentially fed from the Russians, into our FBI that was used in a presidential daily brief. The president was briefed on fake Russian information.
Under the supervision of the National Intelligence Director, James Clapper, while briefed by the FBI Director, James Comey. I think you should be aware of this. There might be some leverage used against you once you assume office.
And I'll take this to the second point here, too. You're right. If this information was used, God forbid, in a judicial document to get a warrant to tap anyone or on the Trump campaign, you want to hear about a scandal? The FBI used fake Russian intel potentially?
And Kash Patel, he's on the same page as Dan over here.
John Durham issued subpoenas to the Brookings Institute. I don't think most of America knows that, but he actually issued federal grand jury subpoenas for documentation, which we now know he used in his indictment against Danchenko. And who was Danchenko? Danchenko was Fiona Hill's former research assistant. Who is Fiona Hill? The world probably remembers. She's the one who conjured up the Ukraine impeachment fiasco in her time at the White House. And why is she important? Fiona Hill connected Danchenko to Christopher Steele. A political operative in the White House connected Christopher Steele to his primary source and allowed her to get all this false information into the FBI. How does that relate to Charlie Dolan? Fiona Hill also connected Charlie Dolan, the Clinton ally operative, to now Danchenko, the indicted individual under Durham.
So it's no surprise that we're hearing this, especially now. But what is it that you guys think they found, especially given all of the evidence that we already have?
Accusing people of having links to Russia has been an age-old tactic to ruin your political enemies.
See, it started when Fusion GPS, based in Washington, D.C., was paid to dig up dirt on Mr. Trump, who was then Miss Clinton's rival for the presidency. The intelligence firm then subcontracted Christopher Steele, a former British spy who then previously worked in Russia, to compile the research. And you guys remember how that Steele dossier was used in the Pfizer courts to gain a warrant to spy on the Trump campaign? And how this was all under a Mr. James Comey? Well, apparently, the sources cited in the dossier itself, when interviewed later, were like, what? I never said that. Guys, the two people running the FBI are the ones dropping this right now. How much you want to bet arrests are coming?
Cohen said, though, in that open testimony, he had no direct evidence of collusion with Russia. The Senate Intel Chairman also said, at this point, no evidence of collusion at this point. Have you seen, do you have direct evidence of collusion with Russia?
Well, I think there is direct evidence in the emails from the Russians through their intermediary.
And I'll bet you guys anything. They've got a couple ideas already of who to start with.
Adam Schiff is the worst criminal in Congress in the last 250 years. Adam Schiff went to the podium day after day after day saying, I know nothing about this, we're not going to discuss it, we're going to protect it. And then he, Adam Schiff, led the prosecution of the impeachment trial in the Senate of President Donald Trump. Talk about someone who was conflicted out of the game because he was part of the hoax that brought Charmella in, manufactured that false accusation, and then peddled it out to the world. Now he lied just to set up a presidential impeachment. And that's what I was talking about, these disinformation campaigns.
Here's a statement from Schiff. The majority seems to believe that if it can discredit the initiation of the investigation by attacking the FBI Justice Department, it can get the public to ignore the growing body of evidence of illicit contacts between the Trump campaign and the Russians. This approach is as disingenuous as it is destructive to our institutions. Doubling down.
Brian, this guy is a police state tyrant. Bottom line, the investigation discredited itself. They just produced the EC, the electronic document, communications document, which describes how it started. This is an FBI document. Think about what Nunes said. There is no intel in there.
Right.
I mean, do you believe this? This is a major league bombshell.
This is awesome, man. It's so important we go after the real deep state administrators like Comey, Peter Strzok, McCabe. But you know who I think is just as important? The people who were providing them cover, paving the way for what they were doing in the background. In my mind, now tell me if you guys disagree, but you gotta perp walk Adam Schiff. I mean, this guy is the poster boy of whatever the establishment line is. He's engaged in all the classic Democrat corruption. He parrots all the talking points. He's engaged in their cover-ups. He's promoting the J6 narrative. He claimed direct evidence of Russia-Trump administration collusion. And y'all already know from our previous videos on the guy that his bank account looks a lot like Letitia James. So in my mind, especially given everything these two have already said about our boy Schiff, he's probably top of the list, right up there with Comey, McCabe, and Strzok. But yo, what do you guys think they found? And who else do you guys think this implicates, man? Let's speculate here about what's going on, because this has got to be some pretty insane bombshell for it to be new information, stuff we've never heard, and stuff they were trying to hide, according to Kash Patel's own words. And him and Dan, these two are the guys that take this some of the most serious out of everyone in the administration right now. Yo, keep up the good work, guys. We're making some real changes out there, man. If it wasn't for us going out there, doing the work, hitting the ground, talking to people, changing minds and hearts, none of this would be happening right now. So keep it up, keep sharing the videos, and keep making your voices heard. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys rock, I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one.